I can't hear anything now.
We are headed off live, yes. Let's see here. Just waiting a couple seconds. All right, here we are, LSW20 with Tammy Parker. This is our 10 a.m. session about business analysis and action plans and about how to build momentum in your business. I am extremely excited for this session. Certainly, we want great speakers, and Tammy is definitely the definition of a great speaker. I'm very excited for you to join us today. She brings 26 years of business experience to help small businesses grow. She has a great lens around business strategy, around HR and team management, and she takes a very heavily practical approach. So I'm going to jump off this stream and turn it over to Tammy. If you have any questions, drop them in the feed below throughout our presentation, and I'll let you take it.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to be offering a actionable, quantifiable adjustments that you can make and how to make a business action, sorry, forgive me, how to make a action plan to affect quantifiable results. So sorry, he said a little bit of my intro, so now I was out of my regular place. So a little about me. I am the CEO of Unicycle Business Consulting. As he said, I bring 26 years of big business experience to help small businesses grow. So I had 3 iterations of my career in that I worked for 3 different worldwide brands that are heritage brands. They're very well known, and they taught me a great deal, including that I didn't want to work in a corporation anymore. So what I do is bring a lot of business fundamentals through business analysis and team management to help small businesses learn the things that maybe they aren't used to. When you start a small business, of course, you have your passion, you have the thing that you love, but you maybe haven't taken a business class, or you maybe haven't taken an accounting class. So I'm here to help you really see some big pictures and pull you out of the weeds. So before we go on too much farther, I wanted to ask you to type in the comments any main topics you want to make sure that we cover today, and I'll check them at the end. But I want to make sure we hit the things that you're looking for, and hopefully I'll hit those along the way. So the first step in setting a bold goal for your business is to decide what you want. Setting goals is a powerful process for change. It motivates you and it builds confidence. There's power in defining what you want truly in a measurable way. It gives you a way to measure your success and helps you acknowledge your own progress. We can toil away for days and weeks and months and years and just really feel like we're not getting anywhere because our goal is this giant Morpheus thing out in the future, right? But if we set smaller goals for ourselves once a week, once a month, we can actually see if we made progress, and that can actually help us celebrate our wins. That's a very big piece of this. It helps keep us engaged and move us forward, and it also provides clarity. So deciding what you want, a few things to consider. What does success look like? Do you want to make a change? And what would you like to change? And what do you not want to change? What would you like to do more of with your customer and with your team? What would you like to do less of? What does your customer want more of? And what is your most profitable revenue stream? When we're setting our goals, we're going to stay away from things that we cannot measure, like customer satisfaction. We can talk about ways to know if our customers are satisfied in more quantifiable ways, but you can't say, I want more customer satisfaction and just leave it that vague. Instead, we're going to focus on measurable metrics, sales, cross sales, referrals, reviews, return customers, conversion, and then we're going to talk a lot about man hours versus expenses versus profits. And now I'm going to ask you to start dreaming, and I mean dreaming big, about what you actually want. Start with the biggest picture that you can. And let's talk about what can get in our way of setting those big goals. Why don't we set goals sometimes? Is it because we just don't want to be wrong? We're not sure how to measure success. We aren't sure where to start. And we're afraid of change. Those last two are really important, I think. It's easy to go, I want to own 2 mountain cabins in different parts of the state, and I want to have a housekeeper, and I want to have 3 locations. Those are some big goals, right? Those are some of my goals. I definitely want a housekeeper. But where to start to make those things happen? That's one of my true talents, is pulling us back from step 5,000 to step 1. And change is going to happen for sure. So we might as well make it the change that we want. This is a good time to do some journaling. When you're talking about your dreams, it's important to write them down. It's fun, and it gives you things to work for. We can often get stalled because our dreams are just too far out. They're not steps 1 and 2. They can feel daunting. And so we're going to work on not letting these 4 things get in our way. Has anyone heard of the 7 most expensive words in business? I love this slide. We have always done it that way. Those are the 7 most expensive words in business. This little chestnut, it's kind of everywhere. So think about the changes in your business you've even seen in the last 3 months. 2020 has been pushing us all to adapt and stretch out of our comfort zones and do things differently. I think it's safe to say you're probably adjusting to COVID-19 every day, and it's really a good time to learn into making change, lean into making change. Change is going to happen, as I said. Let's make it what we want. So I'll give you an example. COVID-19 has made it even more important for us to cross-train and evaluate our most expensive asset, our man hours. That is the most expensive thing in your business, and you really want to make sure that you're prioritizing those man hours. So if you have not reopened or called your whole staff back, I have some tips on how you can pull yourself back into business without bringing everybody. Bring your top players first, and then teach them other people's jobs so you can give them more hours. If you don't have enough business to have a full staff, you're not pre-COVID-19 numbers in your business probably. So you don't need to have your staffing level quite that high either. So it really helps us provide clarity around who is the best. You knew it the minute I said it. Who in my team is the best? Who do I want back first? So I definitely recommend looking at it that way. So let's talk about our biggest expense, man hours. As a business owner, how much money are your hours worth? If I could teach you one thing, it is that your hours are not free. A lot of us as business owners will just pour our own hours into the business because there's not an expense, a dollar expense to me increasing my hours. But I would beg to differ with you, and I can do some math around showing you how to decide how much your hours are worth and where to best spend your hours. So when you're thinking about your business, think about your highest, most productive day that you have brought revenue into your business. The highest amount of money you can earn for the business on your best day, divided by 8 hours a day, is how much money your hours are worth. Every hour that you give to the business without driving revenue is leaving money on the table. And then let's talk about how expensive our other man hours are. How much do we actually pay for an employee to be in the business? It's not just their hourly wage. You also have to factor in workers' comp insurance, your time managing them, payroll services, laundry services, anything else that goes into your business needs to be factored into how much an employee actually costs you. And I'll give you a real life example. I was working with a local nonprofit. Executive director hired me, and she wanted me to help her put together a case for her board for hiring an admin. And that was no problem. We did it in one meeting, and here's how. I said to her, I don't know how much you make an hour, but let's say it's $25. This is a nonprofit. This is fundraised money. That's tough to come by. You're not selling a product. You're out fundraising. And so we figured out on her best day how much money she drives into the nonprofit when she is doing a fundraising event, and made that the net profit for her hours. And then I said to her, "Are you addressing the Christmas cards?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "About how many Christmas cards do you send out?" She said, "Over 500. And I said, "Do you really want to spend $25 an hour to have your Christmas cards addressed?" And she smiled and said no. So we hired her a part-time admin who was also a college student to come in and give her 20 hours a week at $13 an hour to do things like address the Christmas cards. And we freed up a certain number of hours for her so that she could be out driving revenue. So keep these thoughts about the cost of man hours in the back of your head as we talk about goal setting. I promise we'll come back to this. So first, when we're setting a goal for a business, we want to set our biggest goal first, and then we're going to pull it back and break it down. So we're going to set our yearly goal. What is our big number from our dreaming before, from our journaling practices? So let's say your big goal is $100,000 a year in business. That's your first goal if you're a small business. Maybe it's $500,000, doesn't matter. You're going to take your big number and divide it by 50 weeks, and that is your weekly revenue goal. Then you're going to take your weekly revenue goal and divide it by the number of days you're open or in the business, and that's your daily goal. And yes, this is going to be an average, and we all know one day is not like another in business, but it helps you watch your numbers. And honestly, if you were hitting your daily goal every day, because of the variation, you would blow away your goals because there are days that are much bigger. But knowing your daily goal can really easily help you track your work and make adjustments. It also can help you honor your success. But Tammy, why did you say 50 weeks per year? There are 52 weeks per year. Well, I like to give you a little space to take a vacation. Yes, you business owner need to take some time off. And I also want to give you a shot at missing your goals. Every week's not going to be perfect. When I'm working with clients, I actually prefer 48 weeks in setting our yearly goals rather than 52. So I'm going to go over some math with you for a service-based business, and some the next slide will go over math for a product-based business. Not everybody loves the math. My whole job is doing math with business owners. Some people are just shake their head and are like, "Tammy, you've lost me." Don't worry, I sit down with people every day and go over their math because it's really important to know your numbers. And you cannot set goals with quantifiable results if you don't do some math. And I promise it's not hard. So for a service-based business, the first thing you're going to do is evaluate your revenue streams. And you're going to calculate the expenses of each revenue stream, but not just the dollar expense. You're going to also calculate the time expense, the number of hours. So let's say that you teach a yoga class, and you need to market that yoga class. You need to sell that yoga class. You need to prepare for that yoga class, and you do follow-up emails as well. I happen to know somebody who teaches Restore Your Core. She's wonderful if you need a good yoga instructor for core. But I sat down and did this math with her to help her evaluate her pricing as well as her schedule to see if she could meet her financial goals for the year. So when figuring the man-hour expense, don't forget the time spent preparing it, promoting it, selling it, practicing it, follow-up actions, travel time, taxes, and the actual service time itself. So if a Restore Your Core yoga class is a 45-minute class or a 50-minute class, that's not the only amount of time that revenue stream is costing, of course. Do you also include freebies? She does. She gives a little half round circle and some balls. So then you figure out how much time did the freebies cost? How much money did the freebies cost? And then how much time did she spend creating that class? Do you also give away supplies? Do you have to run to Kinko's for copies? Again, that time and money needs to be all factored into that revenue stream. Next, you're going to evaluate your pricing. So once you figure out how many hours you actually spend creating a revenue stream and delivering it and following up on it and selling it, you're going to be able to calculate your hourly wage that you receive from that revenue stream. And that changes things dramatically. Given the number of hours that you prepare and execute that, how much money per hour are you actually making? And don't forget to calculate those pesky self-employed taxes. State and federal self-employment tax averages at about 19%, so do definitely keep that in mind when you're doing your pricing. But when you do this math and figure out how much you're actually making per hour, it might drastically change your pricing. We are going to talk a little bit later about how to focus an action plan to increase revenue that may not just be about increasing your pricing, because increasing your pricing may not be the best answer, okay? Our next slide is going to be around a product-based business. If you have a product-based business, you probably have a point of sale system that will help you find things like your average dollars per sale or monthly revenue, all kinds of reports in there. Definitely dig into your reports. They are fun, or in my opinion, they're fun. I love a good report. But for calculating a product-based business, one of the metrics that you can calculate is your average dollars per sale. It's one of the most impactful on your business. So to find your ADS, you're going to take your gross revenue divided by the number of transactions that you did, and that's going to be your average dollars per sale. So we're going to set goals based on that metric only. I'll give you an example. Tammy's Pizza Place does an average of $30,000 a month. They also sell about 1,010 orders during that month. So their average dollars per sale is $29.70. Now, I could try to get more customers, more orders through marketing, and definitely we should all be doing marketing. Or I can choose to focus on the customers that I already have and change my business. So if I spend a lot of money and time in marketing and I increase my orders by 3% in the first month, I would increase my revenue by $891. Not bad. Another $1,000 in the business almost, not too bad. However, if I increase my average dollars per sale by $3, that would increase my revenue by $3,027 in the month. So choosing the right focus for your action plan is key. If you have a product-based business, I definitely recommend choosing either average dollars per sale or conversion to impact your business. I'll give you another example. I was working with an accounting firm. This business owner wanted to sell their business and retire. So they wanted me to work with them to help make their P&Ls look as good as possible to sell that business at a high rate and really be able to live their dreams of retirement. They do accounting work for businesses only, and they have 3 tiers to their accounting packages. In the past, this business owner has sold her bottom package first and then planned on gaining trust and rapport and moving the customer into the middle package. And then as their business grew, if they needed it, moving them to the top package. So we're going to talk a lot about behaviors, changing our behaviors to change our numbers. So I challenged this business owner to only sell her biggest package first. Now, I'm not suggesting that she push a package onto the client doesn't need. But when she is out selling her business, talk about her best package first. And if that doesn't work for the customer, then sell the middle package. And if that doesn't work good for that customer, then sell the smallest package. And I just really flipped her sales process, and she committed to doing that for a year. Then we did some theoretical math. And we found out that we did some math around if she sold 7 top packages and 10 medium packages and 12 small packages in the year, how much money would she make? And she would have increased her business by 24% if she hit that goal. So we set that goal. And I said, let's set a Midland goal as well. So then we brought the math down to 5 top packages, 7 medium packages, and 9 small packages. And she felt a little more comfortable with that goal. That was only going to increase her business by 20%, which, by the way, wouldn't we all love to grow by 20% a year? So we met, by the way, in December of 2017, and the goal process was for the year of 2018. And she figured out that she only needed to sell 5 top packages in the year. And that felt comfortable for her, 1 a quarter plus 1. And she was like, well, it's December. If I sell 1 in December, then I only have to do 1 a quarter. And that felt like an achievable goal for her. Doesn't sound like too much increase. And she went about her sales practice. So we did meet once a month for all of 2018 and a little bit into 2019. And she failed at her goal. She only sold 4 top packages, but she sold 12 medium packages. And I can't remember how much of the small package she sold. But in 2018, we grew her business by 32% with failing at our business plan. It's okay to fail. It's okay to set action plans and not quite hit them as long as you see growth. But it is really important to choose what you're going to focus your action plans on. Please type any questions in the comments and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. And I hope that you're not too bored with all this math, because the math is the fun part for me. So as I said, we're going to be talking about focusing on behaviors and the things that you can control and not about what the customer will do. In our planning for that accounting firm, we never said what the customer would do. We only made actions around what we can do. So we're going to set our goals around the things we can control. We cannot control the customer, the economy, your emotions, the weather, your health, COVID-19, government regulations. There's a million things we can't control. But we're going to focus on what we can. It does feel better, right? We can control our actions. We can control our reactions. And we can implement consistent behaviors in the business. So one of the key points about setting goals and creating action plans is really to set performance goals, not outcome goals. I'm going to do this action over and over again, consistently with every customer, and that's something I can control. And then I'm going to see if my actions pan out on the bottom line. So to create an action plan, the first step is to pick one measurable goal and take one measurable action. This action needs to be practiced consistently by everyone involved for a specific amount of time. It can be a day or a week, but no longer. Try your action for a day or a week and see if it worked. In the pizza analogy, one of the things that we could create an action plan around was increasing that average dollars per sale by selling more soda. We would want to know the percentage of customers that buy soda, and that should be in our reports, but we can do that math if it's not. And let's say in Tammy's Pizza Place, we're going to offer and assume soda in every purchase for the weekend, because that's really when a pizza shop's business is made or broken, right? If you win the weekend, you're going to win the week. So I speak to my staff and I say, with every phone call or interaction, we are going to assume they need soda, and we're going to say, how many sodas do you need tonight? That is a behavior that we can control, that we are going to do consistently. And after Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm going to look at the average dollars per sale numbers and see if we impacted those numbers. By the way, a $3 increase would be less than 2 sodas. So we're going to assume that cross-sale for consistency for the set period of time, and then we're going to look at and see if our actions worked. Just a little side note, did you know that if you offer customers a cross-sale consistently in any retail situation, including pizza, they will say yes 35% of the time. So if I told you, you have a cross-sell item and do you want to increase your sales by 35% on that item? Of course, you would try it, right? If I had told that accounting client, we're going to grow your business by 32% and you're going to fail at your goals, she would have thought I was crazy. But I didn't tell her that. I didn't know the outcome. But I did set us into motion with a consistent action, and we had a great outcome. So at the end of your specific time, a day, a weekend, a week, you're going to look at your numbers and see if they worked. If your action plan worked and the answer is yes, great, do more of that. If the answer is no, fine, try a new action next week. That's another reason I like a short period of time, is if you got it wrong, fine, you got it wrong for 3 days, no big deal. If the answer is kind of, great, you're on the right track. Let's make some adjustments to that action and try it again. So these are not scary outcomes, right? We talked about what holds us back. We don't know where to start. We don't know, we're not clairvoyant. We can't see the future. But if we just keep trying things, we'll learn and grow, and it'll grow incrementally, I promise. When there is a kind of answer in the actions, my first question would be, did everybody practice the action consistently? Or did you have somebody manning your phones not offering the soda? That's usually the outcome of that. So once you've created an action plan, set time parameters, you've decided which numbers you want to move, all you're going to do is repeat, repeat, repeat. You're going to evaluate your business, create an action plan, and the action plan can be, that was working great, we're going to keep that up for the next week. Or a month, and see how much more consistency you can build and how much momentum you can build from that one action. That's fine too. The action plan does not have to change every week or every day or every weekend, whatever this time period is. It can be, we're going to see how much momentum we can grow. Because when you implement new actions, your team is going to stumble a little in the beginning. They're used to doing it another way. We've always done it that way, right? So implementing new actions does take time for them to really gain momentum. But if your first week you see difference in your numbers, leave it there for another 3 weeks and let everybody get more consistent. Now you're going to have to make sure that you don't lose momentum, that you keep it going, that you talk to everybody every day. We're still offering soda and assuming that at every sale. When people come pick up, we're going to say, did you want some sodas to go with that? We're going to have consistent talk around soda at our pizza shop, right? Some questions to consider when evaluating your action plan. Did everybody in the business practice the new actions consistently? How did the customer react to the change? How did the change affect the customer, the team, me, productivity, the bottom line? Is the change enough to help us reach our goals? What else would I like to change? Then you're going to eat, sleep, try again, and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Just keep doing it. And even after your first weekend, let's say we increased our average dollar per sale by $2.50 or $2 instead of $3, which was our goal, right? You can do the math and see how much more you would make in a month if you just kept that increase, if you didn't quite hit your goal. I assure you it's going to be enough money for you to be happy, for you to see real growth. Final steps. So if you want to take this to the next level, you're going to create a calendar with your goals for each week. So to create a calendar with your perfect week in it. So in order to hit my big financial goal that I dreamt about and I put in my diary and I created an action plan and we did it for a week and it worked okay, and now we did it for 3 weeks and this is a consistent result, what would it look like if we did that indefinitely? So you're going to put in your perfect week, and this is about scheduling and things too. This is also about managing your time as the business owner. First, you're going to plug in your white space, administrative time. You have to have administrative time. You cannot just be working in your business. You also need to come out of it and work on the business. That's what this whole process is about. So your administrative time, you've got to do your business analysis conversation and setting a new goal for the next week, cascading that goal to the team. You've got to write your schedule, make sure your payroll was done, all of that kind of administrative things that you do or that you pay somebody else to do. You're going to put down in your regular hours of the business. And if your business has a peak, like a pizza shop, The four most, the four highest days in your business is when you should be there during the highest times of that day. You're going to put any other commitments that you have there. Are you a member of the chamber? Do you go to a weekly networking meeting? I know we're not really doing that much of that now, but any other commitments that you do regularly? Do you volunteer once a month? Things like that. You're going to pencil all that into a calendar. And don't forget time for home and family and self-care. I do a whole presentation on self-care for the self-employed because seriously, we burn ourselves out so hard and fast, and our families are really the ones who pay for it besides ourselves and our health. So as you look at your weekly goals and the number of hours you have available, you're going to figure out how many of each revenue stream or product you need to sell to reach your financial goals. So once you've plugged in your administrative time, your selling time, your networking time, these are the hours that you have left to actually deliver that revenue stream or be in the business to sell a product. Don't forget to put in your planning time for those revenue streams and follow up. If it's like a yoga class or selling houses, how much, do you need to be at open houses and things like that? All of that needs to go in this calendar. And then you're going to figure out how many man hours a week are required to meet your goal, whether they're your man hours or your employees' man hours. You're going to want to figure that out. And then you're going to have your perfect week written down. And the question is, does the math work out so that you reach your weekly goal in that perfect week, or do you need to make adjustments to that? Don't forget work-life balance, super important. So what kind of adjustments might you make? Do you need to make adjustments in pricing? Do you need to make adjustments in administrative tasks? Planning? Do you need to do more planning? Do you need to do less? Do you get into business analysis paralysis where you just keep planning and planning and planning and not acting? Do you need to adjust your sales practices like that accounting firm did? Or do you need to hire someone? Do you need to hire an accountant? I have to tell you, unless you're an accounting firm, you probably should not be doing your own books. This is an inexpensive thing to pay for, to have it done correctly, and to have less headaches with the IRS. I definitely recommend having a bookkeeper and hiring it out. I have 3 bookkeeping and accounting clients. If you need referrals, I'm happy to give those. So you're going to fill your favorite weekend, your perfect week, and how it should be, how it would need to go for you to hit your big giant goal at the end of the year. And then you're going to fill that out for a month. Now, if you're a pizza shop, there are definitely ebbs and flows in the business. There's definitely ebbs and flows of every business, right? But for example, in a restaurant space, COVID definitely changed things. But you also have football season. That's a big deal in the pizza business. You have down times when the college kids are not in Fort Collins, or for example, and so your business might change with the ebb and flow of CSU or UNC, all of those things, or even just regular school, summer versus school time, right? So you're going to want to account for some of that. But if you know what you need to do every week to hit your annual goal, it's really going to pay off just to have those numbers and know where you're at. And then share them with your team. Be transparent. Show them why. Explain to them that if you make more money, they can make more money. Ask them for efficiencies. Ask them for actions on the action plan. That phrasing for soda didn't work last week as well as I'd liked. Is there another way we could say this? Somebody on your team might have a great idea, and getting their input will help with consistency and buy-in to change. Because again, as I said earlier, not everybody loves change. However, if you never change your behaviors in your business will never grow. There's always room for improvement. Identify what works and change what doesn't. So I'm really at the end of my slideshow. I do have a free offer for everybody watching this and a way to get a free 1-hour consultation with me, which I'll share. But I'm wondering if you could put any questions into the comments, and I'll go look at those and read them. But here's my contact information too, in case you need it. lots of stuff at my website. There's some blog posts, and yeah, that's
Awesome.
Have questions.
Thank you, Tammy. So there are a couple. One on YouTube. Explorers has asked, basically, I'm a pre-revenue startup, and that changes the analyzation of their time. So, any recommendations for those folks who are pre-revenue?
Sorry, I want to keep my slide up for you.
Oh, it's okay. Well, we can put it back up at the end.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So for people who are pre-revenue, because I was pre-revenue 4 years ago, I assure you, I've been there. Take a real life look at a calendar with your real resources. And if your real resources are, I work 5 days, I work 40 hours a week already. I recommend committing and calendaring it to time to work on your business. And if you happen to work like 410s or something, that would be better, because I know that we all work weekends, but I also am all about the work-life balance for my clients. So, when are you fresh, and when can you commit to working on the business, and put it in your calendar and honor it. It also saves you some of the, I'm not doing enough feeling, that feeling of, if you don't work 80 hours a week, are you even an entrepreneur at all? Yes, you are. If you're fresh in the morning and you work night shifts, schedule yourself just 2 to 4 hours once or twice a week to really work on your business. And I do have that free offer for consultation. I'd be happy to spend an hour on Zoom with this person and help them figure some of that out. But really being honest about your real assets of time and money is super important. And I bootstrapped and made my company, so I'm with you. You're a hero. Keep at it, I promise. Keep the faith.
Awesome. All right. Actually, also earlier, I know you touched on this briefly, but you had asked for people to comment. So if anybody else who's watching this has questions about business planning cycles, just drop them in the comments below. The same person actually had commented early about prioritizing goals. And I think this is something that that I was thinking about as I was listening and watching your presentation on, obviously the financial goal is how you continue to play the game of business. Like, that's how you stay in business, you make a profit, you're able to do it again and again. How do you go about not just maybe prioritizing which goals and the goals that you're doing, but even the activities that you're trying to implement to help reach those financial goals?
As I said a little bit in the presentation, non-quantifiable goals are hard to feel good about, right? Customer satisfaction, or I want to enjoy myself more in my work. And one of the first things that I ask people is, what do you not want? That's an easier thing sometimes to write down, right? I don't want to do this anymore, or I don't want to have to deal with the bookkeeping or the taxes. The taxes scare me to death, payroll taxes, right? Then don't do that. I promise you, I can show you a way to make more. You can make as much money in an hour in your business as a revenue driver as that bookkeeper is going to cost you, I promise. So, there's finding the right asset to make it what you don't, to get rid of the I don't wants. So sometimes it's hard to quantify what I do want, but once you start writing down what you don't want, things start getting clearer pretty quick. And then I also want to give all of my clients permission to want to make money. There's a little bit of I don't want to be too greedy, or if I go to my team and tell them we need to make X number of dollars, why not? Right? I'll challenge that belief all day long. I have 3 clients who are nonprofits as well, including the one that I used as an example. We can do more good with more money, right? Part of my core values for my business is I want to help small business be a better employer. And frankly, if you make more money, you can pay your team more money, right? And a living wage in Colorado is not a small wage. So if your goal was to be, I want to be a good employer. I don't want to push us to make more money, because I want everybody to be happy. I assure you, making more money so everybody gets raises makes everybody happy.
Oh, that's a great perspective. All right, Kent has asked on Facebook that he really likes the suggestion to make goals on actions and not results. And we can measure actions that were taken or not and make decisions. So if you set a goal of growing 30% and then you don't, what do you do?
Well, if you set the goal of growing 30% and you only grow 26, would you be sad? Honestly,
I wouldn't personally. That's just me.
So I mentioned that I came from big giant corporate. All of them, I had 3 iterations of my career. All of them their goals were to grow 10% a year. Now these are big giant corporations, and 10% is a lot of growth, right? So, but anything above that is bonus level and gravy, frankly. So like in the example I gave about the accounting firm, if I had said to her, we're going to grow your business by 32% this year, she'd have been like, you're not my consultant. You're a crazy person. And I really want to reiterate that failing is okay. She failed in her numbers of top packages to sell. But because she sold so much more of her middle and lower package, she actually exceeded her goals. So, I mean, if you set your goal to grow 30%, and you don't see it in your first week or month, whatever your time frame around your action behavior, then you need to adjust it, right? But I would say if you only grew by 13% in that first week, I would say you need to tweak that, because 13% growth in a week is amazing, is wonderful. So I would not scratch that whole plan. I would evaluate and go, how can we do this just a little bit better, so that next week we grow by 16 to 20%. Is that helpful?
I think so. Well, I'm sure that will comment.
Erickson, I really hope so.
So the other question that I had, somewhat related to this, is how do you help business owners translate personal financial goals with business financial goals? Mm-hmm. Oh, and for the record, Kent said yes. So
awesome. Thank you, Kent.
How do you help business owners understand that? Because sometimes when somebody says, I'm going to grow my business by 20%, or that translates to mean I'm going to grow my business by $50,000 or $60,000 this next year, how can entrepreneurs translate that back to what that means for their personal finances, to the I have a housekeeper or a cabin or anything else? Yeah.
So I personally also set some personal goals, like I want a housekeeper someday. If my business could mean I never clean a toilet, I'm a happy entrepreneur. I also want, I have some goals, like I want to have a monthly massage appointment, which I already got. So my next goal for that is I want a weekly massage appointment for me as an entrepreneur. So I have these little financial goals that I want to achieve, but I have to go back to, I know the calculation of what I pay myself from the business. So if you pay yourself a salary, then you might want to, and if it's like a percentage or however you choose to set up your own pay experience, and it should be consistent. So I personally, because I'm a solopreneur, I have an intern, but I'm a solopreneur, and I take a percentage out of my business of whatever the business makes. And that's tough in startup phase, right? If the business makes no money, which by the way, it did in April. I make no money. That's the way that is. But that's the way I set myself up. And frankly, I have the privilege to do that. Not everybody does. So, you have to think about that too. But whatever your structure is, you can do the math backwards and figure out what the business needs to do for you to take home what you want. And I would set that up by a quarterly basis and then create action plans from that. So I want to take home this much money in Q2 or Q3. Therefore, the business needs to do this much money in Q2 and Q3. And then that's my financial goal for sales goals, or for, networking. How many new people do I need to meet? How many current contacts do I need to convert? Things like that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Do you want to talk a little bit about the offer? Because I know we took that down kind of quickly. So if you want to put that back up.
I'll put the slide up again just so you can see the information. So I do have a free 1-hour consultation just for Longmont Startup Group participants. If you go to this web address, or if you go to my website and then click on make an appointment, it'll take you to my scheduling page. You're going to see an appointment type called Longmont Startup Week Participants. You can click on that, and that's a free 1-hour meeting. And it would be a Zoom meeting, but we will talk about your business. And by the way, this is not an hour-long sales presentation. One of my goals is to support small business in my community, because I feel like small business is the cornerstone of my community. And if I can help small business grow, then it's just good for everybody. Imagine a way that Northern Colorado has everybody's happy in their work. They're making a living wage. Wouldn't that be a lovely place to live? That's definitely where I want to be. So that's why I do offers like this. So during that 1 hour, we would talk about what you're worried about the most, and I would help you look at numbers and create actions based on numbers, and really just to give you a flavor of working with me too. So whether you want to hire me ever, that's fine. I'm just happy to help support your business.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tammy. Doesn't look like we have any other questions coming in, so I just wanted to thank you for joining Longmont Startup Week, and people will be able to view this recorded or otherwise. And we'll be back on the hour at 11 a.m. with our team from Winter Winds Robotics. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks for having me.